Hey guys, so for my third and final post about patent litigation by non-practicing entities, I'm kind of going with an unconventional article here. I'm not sure if this is missing the point of the assignment, but I thought this was a very interesting article that I found on TechCrunch, so I decided to go with this because I think it's actually very interesting and useful to read. Especially if you're going to go into tech and start your own company, I think this would be useful. And the subject is how to be a patent troll, which I thought was pretty cool because the author of the article is Chris Holes. He started this family networking and communication service called Life360. And he basically starts the article off by describing patent trolls as bullies. And this is kind of a common perception of patent trolls in the tech startup community. And so he discusses how patent trolls are a problem, but people rarely fight them back because, like I've mentioned in my previous posts, it's actually cheaper to settle with them and pay the licensing fees than it is to go to court. But he came across an instance in which he had to go to court again right after he raised $50 million of funding in a venture round against a company called Advanced Ground Information Systems, or I'm just going to call it AGIS, for patent infringement. And I didn't mention this in my blog post, but he actually looked up the company on LinkedIn, and they had like no employees. It seemed to be just like some really sketchy shop run out of some dude's mansion. And so he claimed that he used an unconventional method of fighting back. And basically this was his mentality. Most legal advisors are going to tell you that you should settle, and mostly because of the fact that it's actually a lot cheaper to settle than it is to pay the actual licensing fees. But he had been victim to a couple of these patent trolls in the past, and he kind of was fed up, and he sent them a very explicit and angry email, frankly. And so he said he used three main components to his strategy in order to actually end up winning the case, because the verdict came back as non-infringement. The first was going nuclear. He says that basically patent trolls hate being exposed for what they really are, especially when it's to the public and in the eye of the media. And so he basically took every opportunity he could to publicize the trial and the case, and to actually explicitly point out the names of everyone, even the lawyers who were involved, and expose them for what they really are, which is patent trolls. And apparently they hate that. The second thing he did was share information and resources. So specifically what he did is he open sourced all the prior art collected with the tech community, and he announced free legal support for startups with less than $25 million in funding facing AGIS. And not only did this draw publicity and attention to the case, which was part of his first component of his strategy, but it also basically signaled to AGIS, which was filing the lawsuit, that if you're going to try and sue Life360, then basically not only am I going to fight back, but I'm also going to make it difficult for you to sue the other companies that you're trying to sue. And then finally, his last piece of advice was go with your gut and commit to it. Many legal advisors, like he said, told them to avoid the financial burden and distraction, but he says it's a short-term view because in the long run, patent trolls that see that you have fought other patent trolls are less likely to go after you and sue you. And according to Chris Holes, Life360 received 2 demand letters since the AGIS suit was filed, and when they saw the extreme defense that he mounted against AGIS, both of them went away, which I thought was interesting. I hope this was pretty cool, and I hope this was a good learning experience, and I look forward to seeing you guys again next week.